Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for finding your seats. Oh, Danny's saying turn the microphone up. That's all right. This gentleman is all over it. By the way, very nice of the country club. They have now got us better speakers, better microphones. They've changed the tech setup. Like really, really cool stuff. Check, 1, 2. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I hope y'all can hear me in the back. All right. Welcome to the Business Alliance Sonoma County General Membership Meeting. My name is Ryan Kelly. I'm your president of your board of directors, and we have another outstanding, truly outstanding meeting that we're going to have today, although I see one of the sheriffs has not, or one of the chiefs has not made it yet. Okay, so I would like to thank Sheriff Ingram, Chief Cregan, and Chief Meadows for their attendance. These individuals lead teams that work tirelessly on the front lines, addressing everything from violent crime and public safety challenges to community outreach and prevention efforts. Their leadership directly impacts the safety of our neighborhoods, our businesses, the confidence of our residents, and the stability of our local economy. Thank you for taking time. I'm looking at you guys because I'm meeting here. Thank you for taking time to be here with us today and for the critical work that you do in our city. I also want to thank Don Mills. Where's Don? Is Don in here? Alejandro is here. I wanted to thank Don and Alejandro for videoing this. If you guys aren't aware, if you ever miss a meeting and you want to be able to watch one of the videos and catch up on it and see what you missed, these are the guys that do that. So thank you guys very much for doing that. And a heartfelt thank you to our members. Thank you guys for attending. Without you, our association wouldn't be as valuable as it is. And of course, our sustaining members. The programs are impacted by the work that we do, and it wouldn't be possible without our sustaining members. With that, it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage our Executive Director, Ty Moody.
All right. Good morning. You guys thought I'd miss this? Crazy. Of course not. Not even babies can stop me. I'm actually having like breakfast at a table and something's thrown at me. And there's good company in the room. It's a good day, guys. All right. So let's get things started. I'll first start you with this humbling motherhood journey. Max because he's 10 pounds and 2 feet long. Yeah, so newest edition, guys. All right. We have a great program today. As Ryan mentioned, we've got our esteemed police chiefs here. We've got Sheriff Ingram here, and we're going to have a great conversation about why it's important that we as a business community are paying attention to what's happening with the safety of our communities. So I'm so glad you're here to join us in that conversation. The partnerships that we have with the law enforcement agencies in our county are very important to us. We have worked with them tirelessly in the past year to help with the SRO officers at Santa Rosa. I know we'll be talking a little bit about that today, and that advocacy. And in the past, we've even launched whole campaigns. If you look on your table, there's one-pagers about a fund that we have that I'll let Scott tell you about once we get closer to the moderation of the program. But on another note, we have more partnerships to talk about. So next month, please join us September 10th, not the 3rd. That's the first Wednesday, so 3rd. We're doing the second Wednesday. So the 10th, join us. We'll be talking about securing the water's future. We'll have Supervisor David Rabbit with us and David Manning from Sonoma Water to talk about what's happening with the Eel River project. So please do mark your calendars for September 10th and join us on that day as well. All right. We want to get to this program, so we're going to go right to self-introductions. So as I walk to your table, just stand up, give us your name, your business, and then pass that mic, and we're going to go all the way around. Here we go. Jason, you're going to kick us out.
All right. Good morning, Jason Tarmino, PG&E Government Affairs. Happy to be here.
Good morning, Kevin Flaherty, W Commercial.
Good morning, Chris Fiscalini with Comerica Bank.
Devin Breslin with First Responders Resiliency.
Morning, everyone. Gerard Giudice, Mayor of City Road Park. Morning, John Cregan, Santa Rosa Police.
Morning, Tom Schwedel, TZS Consulting, and candidate for 4th District Supervisor.
Scott Kincaid, Facility Development Company and State Bank Chairman.
Katerina Giudice with First Responders Resiliency, and this is Ginger. She is our service dog for first responders. You can come pet her after the program.
Good morning, Scott Alonso, Office of Assembly Member Chris Rogers.
Good morning, Sheriff Eddie Ingram.
Life Carrillo, 4C, Sonoma County.
Good morning, Nick Eichen with Cyber Authority.
Thank you, Nick, for being my guest. Ryan Kelly, WSI Smart Marketing.
Sherry Granzato, Wine Country Radio.
Good morning, Melissa Galliani, Wine Country Radio.
Judy Walker, JGW Events and Travel.
Andrew Newsom, Andrew Jones.
Good morning, my name is Ken Frankie, I'm an architect, and I have two guests this morning. One is John Rudolph from PCD Audiovisual, and the other is Jamie Woods with Brabus Home in American Fidelity National Title.
Good morning, Mick Menendez, past president, Pacific Advisors.
Brian Lang, real estate broker appraiser, and I have a guest today, Eric Lucan, who is a Marin County supervisor and candidate for state assembly.
Hugo, ZFA's first one.
Morning, Dan Versace with the Landline Group at Morgan Stanley.
New tech.
Jen Collini, Leap Solutions, a division of George Peterson Insurance.
Pete Leskier Engineers.
Arthur Cheney, board member for First T North Coast, member of Santa Rosa Sunrise Rotary, and president of the Orange and Black Men of Sonoma County.
Good morning, I'm Rob Stanville, and I don't think the new sound system is very good. Anyway, I'm from KLH Consulting and Santa Rosa Sunrise Rotary, and I've brought our president, Lori Rodriguez.
Good morning, Kathy Goodacre, independent consultant.
Good morning, Juliana Graham, BPM LLC.
Paul Yeomans, Exchange Bank, past president.
Sarah Butaro, Sonoma Coast Living.
Joe Gaffney, St. Vincent de Paul.
Good morning, Amanda Rook, Assistant Auditor, Controller, Treasurer, Tax Collector for County of Sonoma.
Rick Carlisle, BKF Engineers.
Carrie Chambers, Exchange Bank.
Linda Bone, Summit State Bank.
Good morning, Andre Moran, Brown and Grace Consulting Engineers.
Good morning, Melissa Flynn, Sonoma County Office of Education.
Good morning, Greg Medici, Sonoma County Office of Education.
Good morning, Tracy Russo, Hogan Land Services.
Morning, Eric Whitmer's Sonoma County Office of Education.
Good morning, Carly Rodriguez, Mid-State Construction.
Good morning, Mark Nelson, State Construction.
And good morning, Ernest Burkhoff, broker and CEO at Burkhoff Realty.
Good morning, Madeline Keegan O'Connell, YWCA.
Rosie Padilla, North Bay Biz Magazine. Good morning, Lori Rooney, North Bay Biz Magazine.
Good morning, Chuck McPherson, Leap Solutions.
It's like the hot potato.
Good morning, Nick Caston, trustee of Santa Rosa City School Board and also a business strategist with Financial Prodigy.
Good morning, Megan Rhodes with Santa Rosa Junior College.
Good morning, Steve Bertlewell with Friends of Smart.
Good morning, Manny Chavez with Bank of Marin.
Good morning, Art Dyke with EPS.
Brett Wilmus with Stony Point Walker Racers Plus Candy Craft from Sonoma.
Hello, Mark Soylent, Soylent Company.
Artie Dexter, Leduc and Dexter, and Super Service Plumbing.
Morning, Greg Hurd at BKF Engineers. Good morning, Dick Dowd, retired, past president of the Alliance, current co-chair of the Water Supply Committee of the Alliance.
Tony Spisman, 707 Promotions.
Good morning, Ryan Bucksbaum, Excellent Staffing, and I have my beautiful wife here, Dr. Annie Bucksbaum, married to family therapist.
Good morning, Kurt Nichols, retired past president.
Eli Weinsberg, CTE Foundation, Sonoma County.
Jason Lee, Superintendent, Roseland School District, and board member.
Todd Mendoza, W Commercial.
Good morning, Gary Lentz with Loan Depot Home Mortgage, and I'm pleased to have with me today Ryan McKnight of Risk Strategies. If the names McKnight and Risk Strategies sound familiar, this is Vic McKnight's son. Please welcome.
Morning, Aaron Smith with Adobe Associates.
Kyle Betancourt, ZFA Structural Engineers.
Kim O'Day, Fidelity National Title.
Kevin Marks, ZFA Structural Engineers.
Steve Glick, Bauer Associates and Director of Sonoma County Fire District.
Good morning, David Brown, Adobe Associates, Civil Engineers and Land Surveyors.
Danny Sheehan with Friends of Smart, board member, and looking forward to a SMART initiative campaign.
Mike Pinkins, District Rep for the Operating Engineers, Local 3.
Mark Stapp, Sonoma State, Santa Rosa City Council.
Jack Byrne with Navigating. Good morning.
Marlene Soyland, Soyland Management Company.
Jewel Soyland with River City Bank.
Brent Mikulski, UCP at North Bay.
All right. If you have a business card, I don't know if we have beer today, but I will still take your card. if that means anything. So if you do have a card, put your card up. If you're a guest, I would love to connect with you after this. All right, with that, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Board President Ryan Kelly.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get this party started. That sounds strange when we're talking about law enforcement. I've heard about their golf tournaments though. Okay, we're gonna start with our sheriff. I'd like to do some introductions. We're gonna start with Sheriff Eddie Ingram. He grew up in Union City, and he does not know this, but so did my wife. And he graduated James Logan High School, and so did my wife. After graduating, he attended Eastern Michigan University in Cal State Hayward. Eddie began his law enforcement career as a correctional officer with the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office and promoted to deputy sheriff in 2001. Eddie joined the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office in 2002, and as a deputy sheriff, he was assigned to the main office, the Valley Stub Station, and the Sonoma Police Department. Eddie served as domestic violence sexual assault detective from 2006 to 2009, and again in 2014, before he promoted to sergeant. In 2014, Eddie was promoted to the rank of sergeant as a main office patrol supervisor and internal affairs. Ooh. He also held collateral assignments as a supervisor with the hostage negotiations team, that's cool, crisis intervention training program, and explorer program, defensive tactics, and the body-worn camera program. Let's welcome Sheriff Eddie to the stage. Next, we're going to invite John Cregan. So Chief John Cregan has more than 26 years of law enforcement experience and has served as a Santa Rosa Police Department Chief of Police since May of 2022. Chief Cregan serves on the board of directors for the National Alliance on Mental Illness and is passionate about creating long-term solutions to help police officers better serve those suffering from mental illness in our communities. That's very cool. He led the effort to reimagine the city of Santa Rosa's mental health response model with the creation of the In Response Mental Health Support Team. Chief Cregan serves on the board of directors of the California Police Chiefs Association and is working to develop innovative law enforcement strategies that are being used across the state of California to ensure that Santa Rosa remains a safe and vibrant community. As Chief of Police, he is focused on violence reduction strategies through setting enforcement priorities, utilizing emerging technology, and focusing on the root cause of crime. A department-wide focus on organizational wellness and training has led to an improved service delivery by all 249 members of his staff. That's amazing. Chief Cregan holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration and a master's degree in law enforcement and public safety leadership. Chief Cregan is a graduate of the California POST Command College and, get this, Leadership Santa Rosa. Let's welcome Chief Cregan to the stage. All right, our moderator. I love this guy. He's a friend. Scott Kincaid is the owner of Facility Development Company, a commercial general contractor. His maternal side of the family settled in Sonoma County in 1856. I know, I read that last night and I was like, dude, that's crazy. And continues with deep roots in our community as the 6th generation begins their college and career paths locally. A past president of this Business Alliance Sonoma County and current chair of the SCAPAC, which is the Sonoma County Alliance Political Action Committee, Scott has decades of experience in commercial lending, construction, and economic development. His leadership and advocacy extends beyond business. He served on the Sonoma County Workforce Investment Board, the City of Santa Rosa Design Review Board, the Sonoma County Youth Ecology Corps, as member of the Fund Development Committee for the CTE Foundation, and more. Always working to strengthen our economy, create opportunities, and improve the quality of life in our region. Let's welcome Scott to the stage. Oh, he did. I didn't see him come in.
Back to you. Just give him the introduction.
Oh, okay.
We'll welcome him to the stage with a big round of applause.
If Chief Mattos gets off of the emergency call, which I'm sure he's on, and shows up. Chief Tim Mattos graduated from the Butte College Police Academy in June of 1990 and began his law enforcement career with the City of Woodland as a police officer on July 9th, 1990. Chief Mattos left the City of Woodland in August of 2006 and began working for the Marin County District Attorney's Office as a district attorney investigator. I'll bet he's got some stories. Chief Mattos left the district attorney's office in May of 2008 after accepting the position of police commander with the City of Suisun City. Chief Mattos was promoted to Chief of Police in January of 2015, and in January of 2018, Chief Mattos became the interim city manager for the city, until accepting the position of Director of Public Safety with the City of Rohnert Park, my city of Rohnert Park, in 2018. Chief Mattos is a current member of the Sonoma County Law Enforcement Chiefs Association, California Police Chiefs Association, and International Police Chiefs Association. Chief Mattos is a graduate of the FBI National Academy, that's also cool, and holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice Management. Chief Mattos is exceptionally proud of all the women and men who make up the Rohnert Park Police and Safety Department. Their dedication and professionalism to all who live, work, and visit Rohnert Park is evident in the manner by which they serve their community. When he arrives, let's welcome him to the stage.
Thank you, Ryan. And again, extend a welcome to our guests this morning. And my name is Scott Kincaid. I'm the owner of Facility Development Company, as Ryan said. I want to talk a little bit about why we think a law enforcement panel is important to our community before we jump in to questions and answers, hopefully. So as a business community, we know that public safety is the foundation of a thriving economy, strong neighborhoods, and a healthy quality of life. When people feel safe in their homes, schools, and workplaces, businesses can grow, jobs can be created, and our cities can flourish. That's why partnerships between business and law enforcement are so critical. We've seen firsthand how collaboration can make a difference, like our advocacy here for the return of school resource officers in the City of Santa Rosa City Schools. These officers play an important role in preventing youth violence, building relationships with students, and keeping our campuses safe so the parents can go on about their daily lives, knowing when they drop their kids off at school, they're safe in a learning environment. Those efforts that we've all been collectively a part of are paused. We'll talk about that in a bit. But we did get to the finish line on people agreeing that they are important to return to the campuses. Really quickly, years ago, the Sonoma County Alliance created a safety rewards fund. It's actually a community engagement and safety rewards fund, and I'll get to the community engagement part in a moment. But the safety rewards fund provides law enforcement another tool in their tool belt to hopefully gain information to apprehend criminals. So we worked extensively with the city of Santa Rosa, and as such, in their judicious use of the fund, they can now offer rewards up to $2,500 for information leading to the capture of criminals in our area, in the city of Santa Rosa, for instance. Their judicious use of it, they don't always give $2,500, they give based on what the information they receive is, allows us to continue offering these rewards up to $2,500, and the fund continues to be healthy and thriving. That said, when we do issue these $2,500 rewards, the fund depletes, and we need to replenish it. And so on your table, on one side of the card, is a brief description of the Community Engagement Fund, along with a QR code for donations. When we decided to do a little fundraiser this morning, Ross Liscombe, who is one of the founders of the fund, said, I'm in, $100 from me, which then catalyzed into Scott saying, I'm in, $100 from me. So let's continue that theme and scan the QR code and make a donation. Just touch briefly on the community engagement piece. So the fund exclusively funds the reward program. It has not been used for any other purpose and will not be used for any other purpose. But the community engagement and partnership side of things, because we have this fund and because we maintain relationships with the law enforcement community, they reach out oftentimes to the Business Alliance Sonoma County and say, hey, we've got this other need in law enforcement. And so years past, we funded gun buyback programs through donations from this group. We've also funded K-9 units from donations from this group, and on and on. Matter of fact, Tommy Isaacson with the city of Santa Rosa said, hey, we need some money for the Empire Soccer Club. And I got some kids that would otherwise be doing other things if they couldn't afford to be here. And so a few of us pitched in and made sure those kids could continue playing soccer and keep their minds off other things in the community. So with that, I want to start off our questions. We're gonna have 3 minutes and hold everybody to 3 minutes. I'll start the timer as I'm waving at you, wrap up, and oh wow, look at that, she's got the police.
I'm the time police.
All right. There you go. And before we jump right in, I do want a round of applause for Chief Mattis. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's start off with City of Santa Rosa. Gang violence and homicide spike is kind of our title. So as context, as of June 2025, Santa Rosa has seen 8 homicides, including 2 murder-suicides, making one of the city's highest mid-year totals in recent memory. Several of these have been tied to gang activity, echoing a 2003 spike that led to the reinstatement of the Gang Crimes Task Force. Here's the question. With the surge in homicides and continued gang presence, what strategies are you working to curb gang violence, and what additional resources or partnerships do you need from the business community to sustain progress?
Thanks, and this is a topic that we could spend an hour talking about, gang violence in Sonoma County, and I got to serve as a gang crimes detective for 5 years and later as a sergeant of our gang crimes team. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. And quickly for us, we saw in 2023 was a big year for us. That we had, not only was that our tragic homicide on the Montgomery campus, but we had that summer of back-to-back weekends, youth involved in shootings where we had youth killing other youth. So that was the time that we came together as the city of Santa Rosa with our violence prevention partnership, with our city leaders, and we're able to get the resources to bring back our gang crimes team. We had actually lost our gang crimes team in 2019 due to staffing and budgetary issues. So we brought back that team that year, and kind of our strategy for addressing some of these things is our four-pronged approach of our gang crimes team. And it's not just the enforcement side, which is obvious, but the other more comprehensive sides are prevention, intervention, and education. So preventing kids from ever getting involved in gangs in the first place. Programs like the GREAT program, where we go in the 5th grade elementary schools, with the intervention of helping those youth and young adults who are involved in gangs and helping them successfully exit the gang life. And then education, educating parents, teachers, and others. The other part of keeping it in this 3 minutes is this technology. We're absolutely using technology. We built a comprehensive real-time crime center in the city of Santa Rosa. And one thing we're proud of, so far we've invested over $2 million in our real-time crime center. Not $1 has come from our city's general fund. Everything has been through federal earmarks, through grants, through other funding opportunities. So over $2 million, and we're building a comprehensive approach that's putting technology in the community, that's changing how we investigate crime in the city of Santa Rosa, and helping us to be a regional partner in this effort. And the last thing for us is really about partnerships. And Tom Schwadelm's here, and he was been a mentor to me over my career. But one of the things that he used to say quite often is that gang issues are a community-wide issue, and it's going to take a community-wide approach to be able to solve that. And that's so true. We can't put it all in the back of the police department. We can't put it all in the back of enforcement. That we got to come together with all the voices that are represented in this room here today. And one partner that's been tremendous for us in this area is the Santa Rosa's Violence Prevention Partnership. I've been involved in it from day one as a detective and a sergeant and through the ranks here at the police department. So get involved. They meet once a month for an operational meeting, every other month for a policy team meeting. Get involved with it. They're open to the public, those meetings. There's over 50 nonprofits that are engaged in that, and we're working toward holistically bringing some of the resources. But at the same time, we need to continue to work. Last year we put a lot of efforts, and we had our homicides reduced 80% just to 2 homicides last year. The biggest theme that we've seen this year is not so much gang violence in the homicide, but it's domestic violence. 3 of our homicides this year have involved domestic violence incidents. 2 of those were tragic murder-suicides, where we had an estranged husband come shoot his wife and both their kids, and ultimately took his own life with it. Another one, a girlfriend was literally packing up her things to leave. Boyfriend took an assault rifle and shot her multiple times and killed her. Another one was a fight in a vehicle where they were in a dating relationship and shot her and threw her out of the vehicle on the side of the road. Those are 3 incidents that happened in Santa Rosa just this year. So something that we need to continue to support our Family Justice Center and get more people and awareness out there for the Family Justice Center to be able to support those issues. Turn it back over. I'm getting close to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chief. Let's move over to Sheriff Ingram. Sheriff, we have heard some good things about drug enforcement. There are some dangerous incidents out there, and I want to talk a little bit about that. So as of last week, deputies seized 8 pounds of methamphetamine and multiple firearms at a Santa Rosa hotel, I'm sure within your jurisdiction. A stark reminder of the ongoing link between drug trafficking and weapons in the county. How is your office addressing the intersection of drug trafficking and gun violence in unincorporated areas and contract cities? And what role can the business community play in supporting those efforts?
Yeah, so we noticed over the past few years that drugs, especially fentanyl, have really been a big issue. And we lost our narcotics unit back in 2017 due to budgetary issues. And it was really one of my big initiatives to bring that unit back. So the budget year last year, 24-25, I asked the Board of Supervisors to restore that unit, restore funding for that unit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that funding, but what I was able to do was start a pilot program to show the effectiveness of what that unit would do. So I reassigned deputies and sergeants from other units to do a pilot program for a narcotics team. And they did an amazing job showing how the unit was needed. They made, in a 9-month period of time, they made over 60 arrests, seized an untold amount of fentanyl-released pills, fentanyl, over 50 pounds of methamphetamine, several firearms. So they really did an outstanding job. So when I went to the Board of Supervisors this year for the 25-26 budget, I was able to show them the desperate need that we had for this unit and was able to get this unit funded. So it's something that's very important for us to continue to work with. If you look at what Chief Cregan and his team are doing, there's no shortage of drug investigations to have been done. We've been able to partner with them, partner with other regional law enforcement agencies, federal law enforcement agencies, to really attack the drug problem here. I think what can be done here at the community level for businesses is really supporting law enforcement and really looking at that early intervention. As Scott talked about a little bit earlier, is funding a soccer team or funding some other programs, early intervention, the violence prevention program, to get kids at the early age before they get into these things, because drugs are going to continue to be an issue, and we have to stop it at the beginning. That's something that's really important. And then on the back end of it, we have several programs within the jail that we work on. And a couple of months ago, we had our second annual hiring fair. And this is something where you all can really help us out, as we teach numerous skills within the jail for when people are released from the jail, they can actually go out and get a job as opposed to getting into crime. So we had, I believe, over 20 different employers come in and meet with people who are going to be discharged from the jail in a short period of time, take the applications, some did interviews. So those are some things that can really be done by the business community, and give those second chances to people who want to take those second chances.
And a shameless plug, that was in partnership with Sonoma County Job Link, which is part of the Sonoma County Workforce Investment Board. So it's a great partnership. You will be hearing from me to get you involved in some of these interviews and hiring fairs that they do at the county jail, because they're kind of ramping it up with some softer approaches. But the reality is that businesses need to be hiring these folks to keep them from recidivism. Okay, let's move on to Chief of Rohnert Park. Let him settle in, and now we'll ask him some questions. All right. So, sticking with the theme of violence and property crime rates, Rohnert Park's violent crime rate sits about 3.85 per thousand residents, and property crime is about 17.7 per thousand residents. While lower per capita than Santa Rosa, incidents like the July 2025 gunfire report show how even isolated events can heighten public concern. So the question, with crime rates relatively stable, but public perception sensitive to high-profile incidents, how are you balancing proactive crime prevention and community reassurance, and what specific partnerships with local businesses would strengthen early intervention and keep crime trends from rising?
Yeah, thank you for that. So we have seen a little bit of an uptick in our gang activity recently, and what we're seeing is sorry, John, we're seeing people coming in from Santa Rosa. We saw a big problem towards the end of last year, it's a school year. We have a place called the Square. They tend to, kids gather there, and we were seeing a lot of recruiting going on there. So one of the things we did was we strengthened an ordinance recently. The council approved an ordinance to keep those kids from loitering and getting them back on campus. The other thing we did was I wasn't able to put together a gang team, but I was able to put together 8 officers who wanted to work gangs in an ancillary duty. And so they've been amazing out there and collecting intel, working with the gang team in Santa Rosa to try to figure out who they are. And their work was instrumental in that July shooting. Thankfully, we haven't had no one hit, but we have seen that ramping up. So I agree with both Eddie and John that keeping these kids out of these gangs, keeping them busy is what's important. And when I walk into businesses and I see the plaques on the wall where you sponsored a softball team or a baseball team, a soccer team, that is so important because it gives these kids something else to do. Idle hands, they're going to find something to do. So that's where you could really help us, is continue to support the youth and the youth programs. We're not going to completely stop it because there are kids out there that just want to do that. But in working together with Eddie and John and their teams, we are identifying these people. So I will tell you that one of my officers who was interested in gang team came in and he said, hey, we just had 2 people move into our city. And they were actually from out of the area, but they were known gang members. And immediately upon them moving into our city, we saw an uptick. So it doesn't take a gang of people, it takes 1 or 2 to change the complexion of the city. So we will continue to identify them, but we really need you just to continue to support the youth program to keep these kids off the street and give them something to do. Another thing, when we talk about property crimes, we ran into a big problem a while back where our stores were calling us because someone shoplifted or stole something, and then once we would catch them, they would say, we just want our stuff back, we're not going to push some charges. So I had to kind of go sit down with my targets, my Safeways, and indicate, one, we're not going to respond if you're not going to press charges, because you're putting my officers in a really bad situation. But by not pressing charges, you're also setting a really bad precedent. You're telling these individuals that there's no consequences. So as a business, if you call us, we really need your support in following through on that prosecution, because that's the only way they're going to learn that there are consequences to their actions.
Excellent, thank you very much. Back to Chief Cregan. Let's touch on school resource officers. We know due to budgetary constraints, both at the city level and at the city schools, the school resource officers are far reach from a financial perspective. So you can kind of touch on financially how you might see us get there. But more importantly, let's talk about the roles that the school resource officers actually play as one tool in a multi-tool approach to making sure our campuses are safe and open for learning for our students.
Absolutely. This is a topic I've been very passionate on for my time as in the role of the chief of the police with it. And it's actually the headline of the Press Democrat today about the pause of the SRO program. So first is really want to stress, as frustrating it's been about the long journey it's been since 2020 when we lost the SRO program, there's tremendous progress that we're seeing today with it. And certainly as the school board and our city council adopting an MOU, that was a 5-year journey for us to get there. So now we have an MOU, now the struggle is the funding. It's just over $1.7 million to fund an entire SRO program, and that's for 5 officers, of sergeants, their training, equipment, all of their vehicles with it. So that's a hefty price tag right now when both the city and the school board are struggling with some pretty huge structural deficits. But what we are doing is working so closely with the school district, and I saw the interim superintendent, at least August was here. We just met a few weeks ago. We have a standing meeting where we meet once a month. We exchange texts on a more regular basis, but we have a dedicated sergeant and lieutenant who are working directly with the schools and their team liaisoning. But what's really important for me, we've seen progress with the school safety advisories they're going to put on the school campuses, and I think that's a step in the right direction. But as I was just talking this week in the Press Democrat, it's not a replacement for an SRO program. And what I really feel strongly with the SRO program is they're on the school campuses not to be like the face of enforcement, but to be the face of like building relationships and being able to understand the school cultures at those schools and being there when those moments happen. You need to have the right resources there. And one of the things that we really train at the police department is like in the culture of our training department is training for those low frequency, high risk events. So they don't happen very often, but when they do happen, oh my God, are they risky and they carry a lot of weight if you're not prepared. And time again across the country, even here locally, for those low frequency, high risk events, communities, businesses, schools are not prepared for those. And for me, of having the right resources there for that day, that's training with the school administrators, training with the students, having the knowledge of the school campuses, building those relationships. So if we do have that active shooter situation, we're prepared. And with this complexity that we have in our school system, it's not a matter of like if, it's a matter of when. Last year, our officers just in the city of Santa Rosa took 390 illegal guns off the streets of Santa Rosa, the most we have in our department's history. I've been a police officer for 26 years. I have never seen this many illegal guns on the streets of our community, ever. And it's continuing to increase. This year we've actually taken more, I was just looking at the stats, with 8% more ghost guns taken off the streets so far in 2025. So it's not slowing down. And what we're also seeing some of the dangerous trends of more and more of these guns are possessed by juveniles in our community. So to me, it's more of an urgency of building these programs, but also thinking so much bigger than just an SRO program. And the theme that you're seeing here between all three of us today is getting the community actively involved with that early intervention, with the upstream approach. Like, let's get to the youth before they're carrying a ghost gun on a school campus. Let's get to them and see, like, why are they carrying a gun on the school campus? Just last school year, we had 2 stabbings and we had 3 loaded firearms taken off of Santa Rosa schools. That's alarming to me to be able to see that after some of the tragedies that we're having. So that's where we're really excited about what the city of Santa Rosa, though, is doing within our financial means to be able to work collaboratively with our schools, to be able to have those open doors. We have some cool programs. One thing that I really applaud the school for is the Stop It program, the Stop It app program. And kids, parents are using this anonymous app to be able to let us know about potential of a student bringing a gun to school or threats of fights. We work super collaboratively with the school district on that, and that has really been a great way to keep kids safe where they can report these things. But let's continue, like the journey is not over in this, so I think we need to continue to work collectively. We have our city leaders and our school leaders that are both aligned of wanting a school program, but we have a lot of influential people in this room right here. So how do we start working together collaboratively to raise these funds? And is that going to be getting federal funds? That's a more difficult task right now, just being honest with it. Are there state funds? Are there other ways for the city of Santa Rosa and the school district to look at other cost-generating methods that we're going to be able to do next year? We need support in this room, or guess what? We're going to continue to have this conversation over and over and over, and I don't want to wait for this new school year to happen, and it takes another tragedy in our school campus for us to be able to get community support behind us, to get the leaders support behind us. So it's something that we need to work on, that upstream approach, working toward long-term financial support for this program. And I know in my time as chief, going to continue to be very passionate on this topic, and I appreciate everyone from the Alliance's support on this really important topic.
Thank you, Chief Cregan, and we really appreciate your leadership. Over to Sheriff Ingram. Let's talk a little bit about contract cities and cost efficiency and other efficiencies that your office provides in taking the leadership role in law enforcement within your contract cities. So give us kind of an overview of what that means, and then why they're important and why you see that as part of the vital role of the Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, so we have two, well, we have a contract city and a contract town for anyone who lives in Windsor. It's a town. Not just those two, but we also have a contract with Sonoma County Regional Parks. Have you noticed the difference on Joe Vedota Trail in the last year and a half? That's because of the contract that we signed with Regional Parks, where now sheriff's deputies are patrolling that park. That's part of our jurisdiction now. And what I tell people when I talk about contracts is, you don't just get the contract for your city or your town, you get the entire sheriff's office. So Sonoma may be a police department of 10 deputies, but what they also have is a full violent crimes unit and a full domestic violence sexual assault unit and a full bomb unit and a full SWAT team whenever they need those things. They're not paying for them the entire time. They only pay for them when they need them. So that's something that's really efficient for the city. So their regular contract is about $4.9 million. Windsor is about $8.1 million. The other thing that the city doesn't have to pay for, because it's sort of included in the cost of the contract, is they don't have to pay for the retirement cost, which if you read in the paper can be pretty expensive. So there are a lot of efficiencies for a city to contract with the sheriff's office or another law enforcement agency. So that makes it efficient for a city, and they can really be dynamic because also within the contract is what we call a service plan. So this happened this past year. Windsor experienced some budgetary issues. With the service plan, they can change their staffing model at any time. So they looked at their budget, they saw that they had some budgetary issues, so they removed 2 deputies and a sergeant from their budget. Those people didn't lose their jobs, they were just reabsorbed within the sheriff's office because at any given time we have vacancies. If their budgetary outlook looks better, then the following year, they can always bring those people back or add more people, which they've done throughout the year. So there's a lot of budgetary efficiencies that are locked into doing a contract. You have all these different resources when you need them. If you don't need them, then you're not paying for them. The other thing that's really efficient for a city is that they're never understaffed. If they have an absence for more than 30 days, they get a body. So if someone goes on maternity leave or paternity leave or a long-term injury, a contract city is never understaffed. We pull them in from somewhere else. So there's a lot of different efficiencies that cities can take advantage of when they contract. If you look down in Southern California, there are a lot of cities. I think Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office has over 30 contract cities. Riverside County has over 10 contract cities. So in Southern California, the cities are really taking advantage of the contract model. Some of those cities are 60,000 people, so they're not small cities. They're really looking at the efficiencies of it and doing what's best for their citizens fiscally. And I think that it's a really good model for most smaller cities.
Thank you. Roner Park, back down to the other side. Let's talk a little bit about homelessness and safety balance. So Roner Park continues to navigate homeless encampments and safe zone initiatives, balancing compassion with public safety. How is your department approaching homelessness-related safety concerns, and what can business sector and other partners within the city do on this humane and cost-effective solution?
Thank you. And I will try to keep the mic to my mouth. I found out I wasn't loud enough. Yeah, I will say that I'm very proud of our city and the approach we've taken. You know, when homelessness first, we really started seeing the homeless issue, everybody looked at it as a law enforcement problem. Everybody called the police to solve it. And one of the things that we really looked at in our city was taking more of a citywide approach, understanding that you're not going to rush your way out of homelessness, as they say. So one of the things we did was we put together a task force, a homeless task force. We hired some special individuals and assigned them strictly to deal with homeless. And then we really went after trying to clean up our encampments through stronger and tougher ordinances, even trying to navigate around the Boise decision, working with our city attorney. So we took a slow approach, but we took a citywide approach also. We also went out and got some funding for Labatt Landing, because one of the problems we had with homelessness is we had nowhere to put anybody. And so you're moving people around, you're pushing them from one street to another, and it's just a continual game. So getting Labatt Landing a place to put our individuals, and then understanding that, you know, really coming up with an approach of, yes, these are unhoused, unsheltered, homeless individuals, but they are still individuals, they're still people. And most of them are out there not because they want to, but because they have to. So taking that approach to where, yeah, we have to do a job, we have to clean up our city, we have to make our sidewalks so you can walk on them, get the trash off the city, but also understand that you've got to get that individual off the street and treat them with dignity and respect. So we're still struggling with it, but we've got people in City Hall who are dealing with encampments. We just got a Enduro team that we're using on the creeks to try to keep our creeks clean. And one of the hardest things about it was trying to get our officers to understand that it is also you have to deal with this, right? This is also your problem. I know you went to the academy to arrest people and write tickets and chase people and get in car chases, but this is part of your job. And once the staff understood that if we deal with this in the right way, we won't have to continually deal with it. So it is a daily issue that we deal with, and try to keep it. And we've noticed for some reason, it shows the numbers going up. I'm seeing less and less, but it is a daily issue. But we do try to take a humane approach to it and try to get people into housing, get them back on their way, wraparound services. So the new people services hub we put in our city is also helping. Just getting resources to them. That's what we have to do.
Thank you. Chief Creedy, another shameless plug for our rewards fund. Talk to us about how you think it's effective and how your department is utilizing the rewards fund. And this might be in an effort to educate the city of Roanoke Park and the sheriff's office on our reward fund, and maybe get them a little bit more not enough. So maybe get them more engaged. No.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard him, he said because they solved their crimes. I don't know. They're good. Yeah. Stand by, a little plug. I'm working on a little thing around our homicides. So we've had 38 homicides in the last 5 years, and one of those homicides has not resulted in the suspect been identified with it. That's incredible of a rate with that. I'm working on a little thing with our PIO team, is going to put something out on that. But on the community award fund, and that's actually how I first met Ross Linscomb like that when I was a gang detective back in 2007. And from then we were utilizing it so much. And what I've always learned, like especially for gang crimes, it's more difficult. But getting informants to come forward to pass that information, but they're not doing it for the good of society. They're doing it because $2,500 is a lot of money coming in. So having those funds available helps generate for that. We have a confidential way that we can do it, which is another important part of being able to get people to come through. But we use it for more recently for things like a bank robbery. We use it for a gang attempted homicide shooting that we're able to do. So they're game changers in those things with it, of getting the word out. And what it also does is help generate some more knowledge sometimes. Maybe it gets shared more on social media. People sending it to their friends about, hey, do you see anything about this bank robbery? Hey, there's a reward for it. So it's something that's really important. And what I've also seen in my time as a police officer, I'm sure the rest here in the panel will be able to attest to this, that so many of the violent crimes are committed by the same people doing crime after crime after crime. So the quicker we can get them out of commission by getting a tip to come through, identifying them, we're preventing other future crimes and victims of crime happening in our community here in Sonoma County. So it's something that's been really a game changer for our team, and we use it collectively in the county with it, but it's something that's just kind of built in the culture of our investigative teams to put it out on a more regular basis. So what you can do as the number one opportunity is continuing to fund this fund, and make sure that it's getting the notation so it's there. We, under special board approval at times, will ask for $5,000 for more significant cases like homicides and other things like that. We did that last year we had a pretty tragic stabbing on the Prince Memorial Greenway with not a whole lot of leads, and we were able to put out a larger reward for that one. It generates more public interest in that one, and just recently with our detective team doing incredible work with some DNA evidence, we're able to bring that case to closure and make an arrest on that case with some other unique investigative tools that they use. So continuing to support the fund, and also of even sharing it on your social media accounts. So one thing too is making sure all of you are getting your information from the police department through Civic Ready. So it's not an app, but if you just Google Santa Rosa Civic Ready, that way you're getting all of our press releases. We're putting it out. We name the fund in there and put it in our press releases. So make sure you're staying informed and you're getting the information. And then also, if you're a business that maybe has been a victim of a crime, or maybe even a neighboring victim, of posting information about their ward so people are familiar with it, and maybe even raising awareness in the community about this fund, so whether people even outside of the Alliance can help support it. But it's something that's really important to all of our teams, and it's helping, like I said, to bring closure to some of the victims of violent crime in Sonoma County, and very importantly, of stopping this cycle of violence and getting some of these offenders off the street who are out there committing, whether it be armed robberies or other violent offenses.
Thank you, Chief Cregan. Let's pass the mic over to Chief Matos. We'll have him start. This is kind of our final question and wrap up before Q&A. And I pivot a little bit off of these questions. But so as law enforcement, we know that your jobs run 24/7. So we appreciate that your officers are on the street, making our streets safe and our communities safe, ongoing, and that the job never stops. We also understand that law enforcement, everybody that works for you is a human being, that they're not only enforcing the law, but they're making great strides in community relationships, and oftentimes just resolving an issue before it becomes an ongoing real issue. So thank you for that. In that vein, what else can the community do to support your officers? What's the morale like? How's your hiring going? That sort of thing.
Thank you. Yes. Hiring, Eddie keeps stealing everybody from me. So. this is, law enforcement is becoming very transitory. In my 35 years, I spent 17 with one agency, and then I moved on for promotional options. I'm seeing in the last, say, 10 years, officers don't stay as long. They tend to move more every 2 to 3 years, right? So our recruiting, I mean, I have a team that's all they do. I have a lieutenant and a sergeant, and you know, they have other duties, but they're always recruiting. So we're always bringing people in. I'm very happy to say that even, you know, we have the public safety model, which is different. You have to want to be a police officer and a firefighter. And we're doing really well at our recruiting. I've got people on waiting lists, so that's a good thing. Part of the problem with our recruiting, or with any recruiting, is just the length of time it takes to get somebody through that training and get them on the street. So, you know, we're always 1 or 2 down, and you know, that could create a lot of overtime for people. So morale kind of, you know, goes up and down. I always say morale is really good on payday, though. That always really good on that day. But we hire. I always say you hire people with good moral and ethics and good people. I can teach anybody to be a cop. I can't teach people to be good people. So that's what we're looking for, because when I send them out and I give them their own set of keys, they're representing me, the city, and you know, my expectation is that they get to know their community. I want them out of their cars. I want them meeting the store owners. I want them meeting the people in their neighborhoods, because that's the only way we're going to build that trust with our community. So it's a constant daily battle. I think Eddie and John would agree that, you know, keeping the morale of an agency up is one of our probably biggest battles, just because there's so much that goes on in a day in their lives, their personal lives, and you know, to keep them at an even keel all the time is a challenge. So we really are working a lot with officer wellness. We have a healthy foods program that we do for them so they're not eating fast food. We've got, you know, I allow them to work out on duty, provided there's no calls for service. We've got a room they can go in and just relax. It's got some virtual reality stuff. It's got a massage chair, right? So we try to give them ways to just relieve the stress of work. So, but it is a constant battle to keep them focused and keep that morale up.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Cregan, you want to take a little bit of that and maybe give us some other perspective that Chief Maddows may not have spoken to?
Yeah, I think it's the same as Chief Maddow said, and I think we've seen a lot of progress in this across law enforcement spectrums about getting more proactive with like organizational wellness, as we call it. And I mean, the reality is, like, and we always describe it in law enforcement, like putting on a backpack when you get hired, and like every shooting you go through, every child death, you put like a rock in that backpack. And after 25 years, it's a pretty big pack that you're carrying every single day with those memories. So it's something that's really important to me as chief, to put those resources in there. And we're working with Resiliency First here, it's like that, and so many other groups that we work really actively with. But for me, it's like starting from like the head of the organization about saying, this is important, we care about this, and putting those resources there. And the men and women of the police department really embrace that. So I think for you as community members, about just getting involved like that. And when you see a police officer, maybe going up and say, hey, thanks for what you're doing today, like that. And I get people sometimes send me emails like, this officer drove by me and was like, scary, wire like that. It's like, well, maybe think about, I wonder what that officer just responded to, what that call was. Like putting yourself sometimes in their shoes with it. And sometimes if there's things that we could do to get our officers doing a better job and being more friendly in the community, we'll work on that. But also getting out there with that recruitment. We've been really blessed with the city of Santa Rosa of having the resources that we need. We have an incredible city manager, Mark Eaton Smith, who's really put more of a focus on public safety, and that's been supportive. We have a really great city council. Our mayor's here today, and even things like that. We were last night, the mayor was out at our national night out, but the mayor's going to be running the Santa Rosa half marathon with our officers. Like those are things that our team really appreciates, is that more like the connection with our city leaders, feeling our city leaders understand them more, our city leaders come into the briefings. But those are big things too, like when you see the officers out there in the community, about engaging more with them, and then letting us know about opportunities to engage with you out in the community. So whether it be with different community events, and what I'm really trying to do as chief is like, we're all part of the same community. Officers live here with their communities, they're married in the communities, their kids go to the school, and really trying to bring that like connection together with that. And I think that's what's so important. And I think that's for all of us here too, about we all want to work together in this. And I think that's something we've really been aligned with the sheriff and the chiefs about how we can even be doing things to bring kind of this organizational wellness focus to all of our organizations, because we work so closely together, whether it be gangs, narcotics, homelessness. We're dealing a lot of the same people who are transitioning to different neighborhoods and communities here in our community. So the more we work together in these issues, the stronger law enforcement kind of forces that we have here in Sonoma County.
Thank you, Sheriff Ingram. I think it's important for the business community and general public to kind of know about what the recruitment process entails. And once you're into it, the process by which you go through to become deputy or deputy in training. So if you can touch on that.
Yeah, it could really depend on the process is the same for all departments, but the length of time can depend on the amount of staff allocated to it. But generally, it can be anywhere from 3 months to 8 months to get through the background process. From the moment that you put in your application, you do the written test if you're someone brand new getting into law enforcement. Then you go to the academy, and then you get out of the academy and you go to the field training program. So from application to the point where you're on your own, sometimes it can take 18 months. So it's not a very fast process. If you're someone who's already in law enforcement, you can probably get through the hiring process in 2 to 3 months. But if you're brand new coming off the street, it's a very, very long, can take a very long time. We try to shorten it up, but there are mandates that we have to do. There's a polygraph test, there's physical testing that we have to go through. So it can take a long period of time. And what can happen is, as Chief Matto spoke to it, is someone who is testing to get into law enforcement, they may have applications at 4 different places, and they're going to go to the first one that offers them the job. So if they get through it quicker than another place, then they're gone, and then that agency, the other 3 agencies, have to start all over again from scratch trying to get someone else. Because Chief Matto said it correctly. You can't teach someone to be a good person, but you can teach someone to be a cop. And I think that's what we're all looking for is good people. And people want to be Instagrammers and TikTokers. They don't necessarily want to be cops.
Thank you, Sheriff. Again, it's been my distinct privilege to sit here with these gentlemen, talk about law enforcement. We thank you for your time. We'll open it up to some Q&A, and I'll pass the mic over to Ty for that.
Thank you, Scott. Can we get a round of applause for our panel? All right. First question, just raise your hand. We'll walk over the mic. All right, we're going to the back. Getting my steps in, guys. Here we go.
Just a quick one. Is there a different, great way, instead of just saying thank you when you pass an officer? Do you have any ideas? A lot of us have been saying thank you an awful lot. What's something different we can say to help boost morale and thank them?
I think thank you is good. I always tell people, and I think the chiefs have sort of the same thing, is I always hear, in this time, it must be really hard to be in law enforcement. And I say that I think that's something that people see sort of in the media. Even at the worst of times, I would guarantee that somewhere in this county, someone bought a deputy or a police officer a cup of coffee and didn't even say anything about it. The deputy or the police officer walked up and they're like, hey, your coffee was taken care of. That happens all the time. So thank you is good enough. A cup of coffee would be great. But just hearing thank you, I think can change the mood for a lot of officers and deputies.
Yeah, and I think the only thing I can add to that, and that's great, is also just getting involved. Like we have city council meetings, and over a significant police issue, and no one shows up in support of that. And there's always the same crowd who shows up, who maybe not as much as pro-police, but like get involved if you really want to show your support. The officers are going to be there watching. They're watching online. These are important things like that. And get there and say, I support my local police department. I support my sheriff's department. Get involved like that so our city council, our board of supervisors don't always just hear from the same crowd who maybe aren't as supportive. And we hear so much support. And I have people not only from my faith-based community, all these things like that. And I'm like, okay, but I would love to see you there, like participating and getting involved. So do that, like be involved, whether it be on offline conversations, but where the officers see it, they don't see necessarily those conversations that are happening before the meeting. Like be there, like vocally for those officers, showing your support, whatever the item may be, but something that maybe that you can rally behind, or I think it goes really a long way with the team.
You always say everything. You know, one of the things that I think I enjoy most is when young, like children or teens, come up and talk to me or my officers. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times people are afraid to approach us. When we're in uniform, they think there's a shield around us. And I always tell people we recruit from the human race. We are. I told a little girl one time, because she was kind of skittish when I walked up to her. We got to talking, and I told her, I said, you know, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a son, a brother, right? I'm just like anybody else out there who wear a different uniform. And so I would encourage you just to go up and have a conversation with the officer. We really like to get to know people, and we'd like for you to get to know us. So don't be afraid to just come up and have a conversation with us. We really are. We're just moms and dads and brothers and sisters in uniform.
Yeah, I got a question. I'm aware of the district attorney's got this program about organized retail theft. And Chief Mattis, you mentioned the 2 gangbangers that came up from the Bay Area. And then that incident last week where the people hit up 4 Safeways for meat. You know, they were tourists from the Bay Area. I guess my question is, crime tourists. We got people, you know, come taste the wine, come do a little retail theft, whatever. Is it just my perception, or do the people, some of these criminals down there in the Bay Area think we're an easy mark up here, or what is it? And could the district attorney's office buy some ads in the local newspaper, the Chronicle or something, and say, hey, we have police up here too?
Yeah, so I know all of us are working, we're all working with the district attorney's office on the organized retail theft. I know I have a crew in my office. We ought to do stings probably about once a month, and they've been very successful. I will tell you that the biggest thing for us was with the passing of that new bill that made it, I mean, it is helping us, right? Before, you could go in and steal phones from AT&T and you know, thousands of dollars and nothing happening. So I think now that we have a little bit more of a hold on it, we're seeing a big difference. John, speak to that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's because in Sonoma County, that actually makes the news, but perhaps in Oakland or other areas like that, that's not making the news with it about stealing all the meat from the Safeway stores. But it is something that's really important, and I actually think we're more proactive and more quote-unquote aggressive toward facing some of the organized retail stuff here Sonoma County wide than you see in other areas. Some of the things we're using is better collaboration with all the resources of all the departments, of us communicating more, and then the technology. And it's not just the Santa Rosa Police Department is investing in the technology, but we're able to even flag cars that are involved. And what's happening is they hit the same places. So Lululemon, they'll hit every Lululemon in the Bay Area like that. So we're coordinating better with our property crime detective, the sheriff's property crime detectives, all the rest of the region, and we're able to coordinate going, okay, they're coming, they're hitting all these. We see the same things. The same with Ulta is another one. Those hit the same REIs like that. So we're really collaborating better. And what Chief Matto said, at the end of the day, there's got to be consequences for bad behavior. And if there's not consequences for bad behavior, you're not going to see that behavior change it. So I think we're moving in the right direction with that. But I think better collaboration, the technology, and that we show that we're not going to tolerate. And I think that's where all 3 of us here in the stage were really instrumental in our sideshow response. And we were able to show successfully, we're not going to allow the sideshow behavior here in Sonoma County. And by us all coming together as a group and working toward legislation, working toward consequences, working toward this, we basically eliminated that behavior in Sonoma County. I think we have progress to do in organized retail theft, some of the gang violence, But I think that was a recipe for us about how we can be successful with organized retail theft.
I think with organized retail theft, that's the key part, right? It's organized retail theft. They're not just coming to Sonoma County. They've been all over, right? They've been in Marin County. They've been in Alameda County. I think our our unified response to things and how fast that we can respond to things is they've been in Marin County. They've been in Alameda County. They may have been in Contra Costa County. We just caught them here in Sonoma County.
Yeah.
So that's the difference in why it appears to be.
I assume you guys have these statistics, but I'm curious, do you know what percentage of crimes are committed by people who are in the country illegally? And so that would be my first question for each of your jurisdictions. Secondly, it would seem logical that you'd want to get those people out of the country if you could. I think everybody agrees that that's not something we should have to countenance. But when that happens, when there's even one arrest in Sonoma County, it seems like it makes front page news in the Press Democrat. So I'm wondering how you balance that or what your take is on that somewhat hot button issue. But the first thing would be the question of what percentage of crimes, if you know, are committed by people.
I'll take that as the immigration expert in the group. So by California law, we're not allowed, it's actually illegal for us to ask what any person's immigration status is. California law does not allow any law enforcement agency, state or local, to ask what anyone's immigration status is. So the answer to that question is we don't typically know. The only time that we know, and the police chiefs wouldn't know, the only organization that would know would be the sheriff's office because we house them in the jail. The only way that we have any indication that someone may be undocumented or illegal is if Immigration and Customs Enforcement sends a request for us asking for additional information on that person based on their fingerprint hit in the DOJ system. So we don't actually know that information, who is illegal and who isn't. The only indication we get is a request from ICE for additional information on that person.
As a follow-up to that, because it has been in the news a lot with different law enforcement agencies cooperating or not cooperating with ICE, what are the policies or procedures in place currently from each agency with regard to the level of cooperating or not cooperating with ICE requests or ICE involvement?
So again, California law doesn't allow us to cooperate with ICE in most circumstances. So we can't do immigration raids. We can't be involved in any immigration enforcement. We can't ask if anyone's immigration status. What can happen, and it only happens at the jail, is we can keep someone in custody and turn them over to ICE if there is a warrant issued by a magistrate, so a judge, and we can release information when ICE sends a request for information to the jail. We can release information if the person has been arrested or convicted of a certain list of crimes that are outlined in the penal code.
I have a question regarding what I refer to as the neon sign massage parlors in Santa Rosa area. I know there's been some ordinances around that, or things changed. If you could please just address kind of the progress on that.
Certainly, and that's been a hot topic in the city of Santa Rosa for the last year. And it's kind of like one of those things when you're a police officer and they say like, hey, a red Volvo just did a robbery, and then when you drive around there's like 100 red Volvos. I'm like, man, I never knew there were so many. And it was kind of the same thing. We got started, community members started going, man, they're getting so many massage parlors like in Santa Rosa. What's going on with this? And we started looking, and like as I'm driving to work, I was like, man, that is like 7 right here on 4th Street right here. That's getting unusual with it. I know we have a lot of stress in Sonoma County, but I don't know about that much with it. So it's something that the city of Santa Rosa really took a lead on, and this was a collaborative effort with the city. Our planning and economic development took the lead on this. So Gabe Osborne, I believe he's spoken here before with it like that. His team, and we work really collaboratively with the police department. And we passed a citywide comprehensive ordinance that put more restrictions about requiring like having a business license now, having this basically a license for the therapists as well who are on that team, having more oversight from our code enforcement team, and what we're doing is working collaborative. So we've gone out and done multiple site visits with our domestic violence sexual assault team, with code enforcement, and we bring in some of the resources with Verity for victims who are maybe victims of human trafficking that we're seeing that is occurring right here in Sonoma County. And we may be oblivious to that as a society, but it is with it here. So we're bringing in those groups, we're going to those organizations, we're working with our detectives to shut down some of the ones that are clearly straight up brothels that we have operating in the city of Santa Rosa. And quite honestly, and I've worked with some of the other chiefs and the sheriff, we're seeing this throughout Sonoma County, certainly at Mecca here in Santa Rosa, but it's something that we're working, and we sent our ordinance out to all the other chiefs in the region, because what we're gonna see, I believe, is we start stepping up our enforcement in the city of Santa Rosa, they're just gonna move to other jurisdictions. And that's where people go to the path of least resistance. So you're gonna see it going, so we're trying to make that more regional for other people, so they don't start experiencing that. So you're gonna see that. Our ordinance had a 180-day clock before it starts, so it's coming up on it. And we're actually Gabe Osborne and I are presenting to the city manager group next week on this topic like that, so we can continue to get our other city managers and other city leaders apprised of this issue. But you're gonna see in the city of Santa Rosa, you're already seeing multiple ones shut down, and you're gonna continue to see that progress. But this is an effort, again, of community coming forward to us working with all of our city departments, and then ultimately having the support from our city leaders to be able to pass this ordinance and give us the tools that we need to shut down some of this with it. And again, the action item for you, get more involved with things like with the Family Justice Center, with groups like Verity and things like that, giving the support they need, and because they're really crucial for us being successful, because what we're seeing time and time again, the victims of the human trafficking here have a fear of getting involved with law enforcement. There's so much really intimidation tactics that are being used for them to not cooperate with us. So we need groups like Verity that are trusted to be able to help us be able to kind of crack open that door to get them the support that they need.
Thanks for the update on school safety and some of the work that you're doing with SROs and the gang task force. One other issue that we're seeing safety-wise in schools is a lot of our families right now who may have family members who are undocumented are seeing headlines about people being taken from their cars, maybe even people who are legal residents, and they're afraid to send their kids to school because they don't necessarily feel that schools are safe places anymore for children or families who are undocumented. As your agencies work with schools, what do you see as kind of your role in sort of providing that sense of safety to families so that they can send their kids to school? Because if their kids aren't coming to school, they're not learning. It affects things like school funding and just kind of the overall environment in the school. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's an important topic, and Chair Bingham really laid it out. For us, if you want to really dive deep in the details, Senate Bill 54 was passed in 2017, strictly prohibits from law enforcement for getting engaged in any type of immigration for local law enforcement from getting involved in that. For the schools, I think it comes down to that partnership with the schools. And like I said, we have a very close relationship with not only Santa Rosa schools, but Roseland School District and the others, and us communicating if there's issues that are going or things like that that law enforcement is aware of. We're gonna have a very visible presence at all the Santa Rosa schools, making sure that we're doing that. And to my knowledge, I haven't heard of any incidents locally where you had any Homeland Security or ICE officials going on a school campus. I don't see that happening here in Sonoma County. Obviously, I can't predict with the federal government, with their operations and things like that. But I think what I can do is control what's in my purview, and that is you're never gonna see a Santa Rosa police officer involved in that, because we're gonna follow the state law that we have here laid out before us, and we're gonna pledge to work very closely with our school officials to make sure in all areas, whether it be with immigration, whether it be school safety with firearms gangs, whatever it may be, that we're gonna be in lockstep in partnership, because we all have the same shared interest, and that's having a safe environment for our kids to come to school every day. So that's something that I'll continue to work with, and I know I have the full support of our Santa Rosa leadership and our school board trustees, and certainly with our interim superintendent.
I also think what we're seeing a lot of within this topic is a lot of misinformation by some of the groups out there who want cities or the county to declare a sanctuary ordinance. A sanctuary ordinance doesn't stop immigration and customs enforcement from coming into a community and doing what they're doing. So that's an issue. The other issue is, the other thing is that I've actually talked to the person from ICE who oversees this region, and they're only doing targeted enforcement here. So they're going after people who have warrants, who they have warrants for. So they're not going into schools. They're not just grabbing people off of the street. At this point, they're only going after people who have warrants, and so it's very targeted enforcement. And they're notifying us, not exactly what they're doing, but they're notifying us that we have a warrant. We're going to be in this part of the county serving this warrant. So there's a lot of fear that's being propagated out there in the community, and I understand that fear. Will they change? I don't know if they'll change their operational procedures here in this area. That may happen, but at this point, it's very targeted enforcement for people that they have warrants for.
All right. Okay. Check, check. There we go, everybody. Hello. Okay. Chief Mattos, Chief Cregan, Sheriff Ingram. Let's all give them a big round of applause. I think it's also important that we say thank you to somebody else on the stage. It takes a lot to take the stage and ask hard questions. I'd like to thank our board member and our member that comes every month. This guy's been here for like decades, guys. Let's thank Scott for his month. Okay. So thank you to the panel. I want to take a moment to recognize some of our local heroes, also known as elected officials in the room. Please hold your applause till the end. Eddie Ingram, our Sonoma County Sheriff. Amy Carter from the Sonoma County Superintendent of Schools and Sonoma County Office of Education. Our Mayor, Mark Stapp, who never introduces himself as mayor in these meetings. Thank you, Mark. Gerard Giudice, my mayor, as I like to say. Ariel Kelly, council member for the city of Healdsburg. Nick Castan, school board trustee. Linda August, intern superintendent for the Santa Rosa City Schools. Scott Alonso, the office of assembly member Chris Rogers. And I just want to say, as a resident of Rohnert Park, I appreciate the work that Marcella does, that Gerard does, and especially that my chief does as well. So I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for being here with us today. To all of you who are not members, become members. Why do you keep coming but you don't sign up? Sign up, people. Let's all be in this together. We hope you'll join us again on September 10th for another very important conversation about water. We're going to have Supervisor David Rabbit here and members from the Sonoma Water Organization to have a panel on water, whether you drink it or use it to grow in your garden, or you care about agriculture, our aquifers, what we're going to do in our next drought. It's going to be a really interesting and important conversation to have and to hear. So mark your calendars and don't miss it. And that's it. Everybody, thank you guys for coming. We'll see you next month.